Hello there. I'm back again with another video. This is going to be somewhat of a continuation from the last video. More of an advanced tutorial kind of thing. I don't know about saying advanced, maybe that's not the right term for it. But it's gonna cover more of the spell cards and instants and things like that, and somewhat of a different style of gameplay rather than just spam biggest creatures and try to win. Again, I want to stress that I have not actually went through any leaderboards or anything like that, or not leaderboards, I'm sorry, any guides or anything teaching me how to play. What I'm putting on here is essentially what I've learned from the past about 3 days since I've had the game. I find it's a great game. It's really addicting. I've only had it for 3 days and I've already unlocked quite a bit. See, maybe this will tell you. Yeah, as you can see, I've played around a little bit with some of my stats here. It's not really important. I'm actually just gonna change my avatar. Have something a little different. I am gonna have this person looks pretty awesome. Yeah, that'll do for now. Yeah, I just want to show you some of the decks, the different decks there are. Oh, come back here, you. I'm really not a big fan of how they move the decks and how you move the stuff around in this game. It's a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes. But we've went over the pack instinct last time. I've got all the cards unlocked, as you can see. This is what I started out with in the campaign, and I continued to use it all. And so I'm very familiar with this deck. It's really easy for me to use it. Here's Jace's deck, as I was telling you about. You can see their stats on the left side here that tell you things about the deck, like his creatures being very tiny, his deck speed being slow, but its flexibility and synergy being extremely high. Here's the guy we fought last time. Main creature. He's mainly a creature spammer, trying to get you quickly. As you can see, his deck speed. He relies solely on that deck speed and the fact that his creatures work very well with one another. I don't really know. I only fought her one time. She beat me. She actually beat me once, which is surprising. But then I kicked her butt. This is more of a, just give you a quick overlook of some of these guys. You can kind of scroll back and forth and see their different deck stats. Really, the best way to figure it out is by fighting him. This is actually going to be the guy I'm playing as today. You can see about these symbols right here represent everything that he uses in his deck. So he uses all of these things. His deck speed's even slower than that of the nature one that I used last time. But his creature size makes up for it, and his cards energy. His cards work unbelievably well together. They're absolutely fantastic. And since he relies a lot more on these mana cards and these magic cards, I wanted to show a different side of the gameplay. And I think today we'll fight Born of Flame. He's a heavy spellcaster. He's still pretty easy. Or maybe I'll even try Jace, just to get... No, we'll do Born of Flame just to show you the beginner's level kind of thing. Jace, he still beats me sometimes, despite the fact that I've already went through the campaign one time. This guy, he's pretty tough. He's pretty tough to beat. The computer knows how to use the cards, that's for sure. So let's go create ourselves a custom game. Maybe one time I'll go through these different modes one time, but for now, let's just stick with getting the slightly more advanced steps down to playing, or at least become a little bit more familiar with the more spell-oriented side of fighting. This guy right here, Chandra, uses mainly creatures and spells almost equally. A lot of her spells are used to kill your creatures and then let her little guys attack, while I kind of rely on getting these big guys out there and basically relying on getting as many types of land out there as humanly possible. Right now, I don't like the fact that there's only a couple different land pieces here, so I'm going to draw a new hand and hope I get something. This is a little better, I guess. I'll show you what some of these cards do as we're using. This is a very effect-oriented deck rather than pure strength. As you can see, I've got one monster card in here compared to the rest, which are all effects and lands. So we're going to keep this hand. Chandra usually uses pretty much the same kind of thing all the time. We'll see if that's going to remain the case. So we're just gonna start off, putting our basic land card down. Let's just go with water. It really doesn't matter the order. I'm just doing it simply because I want to activate this card very quickly. It's going to take 5 things, if you remember from last time. See, 1 water and 4 of any other kind. And that's what this entire deck consists most of. Basically penalizing other people for not using multicolored cards. Sorry. So we're just going to put another one down. This deck really starts off slow. We're not going to be as lucky as last time as getting those other guys out there that start off right off the bat, just popping out there. Chandra's definitely going to get a few hits on us, I imagine, before we really get in there and start laying down the heat. Let's just what to do? Let's just go with planes again for right now, and then you're going to notice with this deck there's a lot of cards like this, especially this card. Actually, there's quite a few of these. You'd think it's a foresty card, but it's actually not. You put it over the side where the enchantments usually go, and you'll sacrifice it then at any time of your choosing for no cost. And basically, you search through your entire deck for the proper land card that you want, be it fire, water, plains, swamp, or forest. And you pick that out, put it over here, and you put it tapped, which, if you remember, is turned to the side. So it's basically already been used. And so there's lots of cards like that, so you can get and pull the cards out of the deck that you want to fit the cards in your hand. That's what I really like about this deck. When I fought my friend the first time with it, really whooped my butt. But after that, I think I'm starting to get this thing. I'm getting more used to this thing. And see, it uses a lot of cards like this too, it's cultivate. Nature decks have this as well, but essentially it basically allows you to keep pulling as many land cards out of there as possible. This one allows you to get 2 land cards out of your library of your choosing. One you get to put on the field, and the other one you have to put in your hand. So that's basically your main strategy: is don't even worry about your health. You get everything out of there as fast as possible. So now we're going to sacrifice this. Oh, the game tried to end my turn on me. That was uncalled for. Alright, let's put a forest down. We're going to need that so that we can access cultivate next turn. Because as you can see, it takes 1 forest card and 2 of any other. Now he's going to attack us. One thing we should also note, I forgot to touch on this last time, I don't remember if we encountered it, but you see this creature has flying. I couldn't block him with... Oh, actually I could with this card. But normally, especially with a nature deck, you'll have problems blocking these guys, because flying can only be blocked by another flying creature, or a creature with the status reach on them. I noticed I haven't really seen a lot of creatures with the status reach. The only ones I've seen are some spiders. But this right here is another flying creature, so flying can block flying. Most of the cards in this deck will actually be pretty tough too, so they'll be easy for knocking these guys down. So we're going to have to take a few hits first, and then we'll see what we can do. Oh, that's a tough one. What in the world was that about? Siren Firebird. Wow, you are a tough one. Bloodthirst 3. I don't really know what that is. Creature with Bloodthirst enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it, meaning attack and defense is increased. If one of its controller's opponents was damaged during the turn. For example, a creature with Bloodthirst 2 enters the battlefield with 2 counters on it. A creature has +1. Okay, yeah, I know that. Huh, I don't remember him being damaged. Maybe I'm just not understanding that right, but either way, we got a bit of a problem on our hands, don't we? Now that's where things like this come in handy. How much do you cost again? Oh, you cost 6. We can't afford that right now. We're gonna have to tank a few more hits. But this card right here, which is what I'm planning on using on this guy, this is going to let us deal basically however much damage. It's going to cost 1 fire and 1 forest to use. Anything after that, just like with the Primordial Hydra, is going to allow us to put as much damage as we want against these people. So essentially, for each card we use after these 2 that it requires, is going to be how much damage we do to it. So we're going to want to get up to 6 to knock this guy down. Unless these counters go away, which I don't think they do. unfortunately for us. That's going to put us in a very bad position. A very, very bad position. Oh no, I don't remember which ones I had out there. I don't believe I had a swamp. So we're going to want a swamp and probably another forest, because those are pretty useful. Let's play the forest. And ooh, we're going to have to not play any out there. Careful when you play this card. I played this one time on accident, and it uses my two cards out here up. And I wanted to actually cancel it, and it didn't let me cancel it once I played it, because I had no other cards to set for how much damage it was going to go for. So it went for 0 damage. I'm not going to display that, because that would be a horrible waste of a good card. And right now it's looking like we're going to need every card we can get. Because if you remember, this deck is really slow starting off, so it may be that I've gotten a bad draw this time. I think it's still possible to win, even though this guy is going to wail on me. Just got to keep wailing and wailing and wailing. Ow. Boy, these are quite... these little guys, they can add up to quite a bit. That's something to keep in mind. I actually have another idea that may bail us out of this situation, because I don't have enough cards yet for this Savage Twister to work. But if I put this out there... actually I don't... No, that's not going to work either. Well, maybe it will. We'll find out. Ooh, this is a tough one. How am I going to get out of this? This is a situation, I'll tell you. Oh, the permanents are the same name. I have quite a few. See, that's the thing about these decks, too. I have quite a few options. I was thinking about playing this card, because this card, when it dies, I could use it as a suicide tactic, so when someone kills this card, it destroys all the non-land permanents. So pretty much everything on this field dies except for the land cards, because a permanent is considered anything that stays on the battlefield. So it would get rid of everything at one blow. It would be a little bit of a waste of a creature, but it would be worth it. I could use this, but this isn't strong enough to take down our opponents, because it only hurts 4 damage. I could use this if I had just a little bit more cards, because if I remember correctly, he requires 6. Yep. And that's not going to work. This one right here will destroy any non-land permanent, and all other permanents are the same name as that permanent. Now, I don't know if that means all other permanents on the battlefield with the same name, or everything in the deck. I'm pretty sure it's just the battlefield, but I don't want to waste it just in case I need it later. Vindicate's probably the one I'm going to have to go with, though, because he can destroy any target permanent, which means anything, even the land cards. But I could use him to take out that 6/6 guy right there, which could save my butt in the end. So let's give it a shot. Let's try this strategy out. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a very short game. So we're going to take him out. Now I don't have enough to do anything useful. So we're gonna keep going. We're just gonna hope they don't summon. Oh, that's not good. I think he's going to leave me with 1 health left. And I think, if I remember correctly, that bird he has that I just sent to the graveyard actually can come back if you sacrifice enough cards. Yeah, I'm in a very precarious situation right now, as you can see. And he just summoned another guy out. Now that is not like... Oh, that's not fair at all. Well, he just kicked my rear. Huh. Let's go ahead and try that again. This time I'm not going to have to explain everything to you guys, and you'll be able to follow along pretty quickly from the start of the game since you've already seen it. It's a little different hand this time. That's actually good that you can see this, so you can see how the hands differ a little bit at the start of the game. It's kind of a tough choice because once you start to know what's in your deck, you'd have to think about what you actually want in your beginning hand. You have to think, is this hand good enough for me? Do I want to try for another one? This hand right now, it's a pretty decent hand. I gotta say, yeah, it's about as decent as I usually get. I'm gonna try for a little bit better and hope that I see this is an even better hand. This guy right here is, when this was actually used against me, one of the most powerful cards I've encountered. Basically, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, which is basically their turn, that player sacrifices a monocolored creature. I don't really have any monocolored creatures, but he does. Almost everyone else is going to have a monocolored creature. It's going to be one color or another. All mine, since they use different things to summon them, make them multicolored. So I'm not going to have to sacrifice anything. It's going to make him very difficult to maintain a presence on the battlefield. Alright. This guy, he can be a pain in the butt if you get a lot of artifacts. Fortunately for me, I don't have a lot of artifacts, so this isn't something I really have to worry about. We'll just quickly continue and place more cards, more land cards out on the field until we run out of space. Which you want to try, your main thing you want to do is try to get one of each kind of card out there. We'll tank the first few hits, but I want to get a monster out there as soon as possible. Particularly the Maelstrom Archangel here. It's a pretty tough card. I don't think I went over this artifact. This is a pretty, I think a lot of people actually have that in their deck, especially starting decks. Basically, red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. You got your ruby medallions for the red cards, your emerald medallions for your green, your sapphires for your blue, etc., etc., so on and so on. But it basically costs 1 less, so pretty much everything costs 1 less to cast. Even summoning creatures, I believe, which makes it, as you can imagine, quite handy. See, how much did you cost to summon? Oh, you cost 2. I don't have enough for you yet. Even these little guys, as little as their attacks may be, they do add up. So you do, despite them being small, you're going to want to kill them as fast as possible. Which, when I get the chance, if I can't summon anything else, I'm probably going to have to try to use that Savage Twister on him and take him down. And here goes another 2 damage on me, so I'm down to 16 health. As you can see, this gameplay style right now is remarkably different from what we were doing before. Where now, it's a lot more of this battle is based on spells, like the ones he basically finished me off with last time. I would have been fine, but he used 2 spells called Searing Flame that did 3 damage to me when he used it. So it just knocked my health down to nothing, and there's nothing I could do about it. Uh-oh, he's getting stronger and stronger. I don't really like that. See if I can pull the lands out really fast. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to stop this. I think I need a water card still, which I'm missing. I can probably get it with this one next time, though. We'll find out. Uh-oh, we're getting a bit of a repeat. That's not handy. Alright, now let's just take a quick look at just a quick gander at his cards really fast. So he can destroy any target artifact. Like I said before, I don't really have any. He's flying, again, difficult to fight them when they're flying, or to block them at least. They can still block other people if they want, but you can't block them unless you got a flying person or a reach person. Let's see, alright, he can come back from the grave, we gotta keep that in mind. And Furnace 12 gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. So basically, for each one of these cards he sacrifices and puts over there in the tapped pile, he can increase his attack. You won't do that, though. That's kind of a waste. You don't want to do that a large amount, I don't think. Alright, let's try to use... Takes 4 to kill him. He's the big heavy hitter, so we're going to try to use that and stop him. We're going to take out all of his cards if we can. And there we go. We knocked them all down. Like I told you, I had 6 cards down here, so I used the 2 I needed, then added the other 4 to act as counters. Or basically, I was putting them on there to do damage. And it basically is... It's not so much the health damage that it does, but it relies on the amount of these things it costs to summon them. So it cost the most it cost up there for that Phoenix was 4, and he was the highest card on the field. So I knew if I took him out, I'd kill the rest of them. Same thing with this guy, he takes 4 as well. Now I'm going to use what's this? Oh, I can actually summon a creature. So I'm going to do that first, because it's important for us to get a defense out there as fast as possible. And this guy has a fantastic thing. Let's see. Yeah, whenever he blocks a creature, he deals damage to the creature's controller equal to his power. It's essentially trample, but in reverse, except a little stronger. All I have to do is destroy an enemy creature. And I get to do his full power damage, I believe, on him. I've never used it before, though, so I'd be interested to see if we can do that this round. Now we're going to sacrifice this tree here, and we're going to pull out a... What do we need? Let's pull out another water one. We don't have a lot of those yet, if any. I don't recall if we have one. Oh, Searing Flame again. See, here he comes, and he's going to try to weaken me. There are actually certain deck builds as well to heal you. Oh, he's actually... Oh, I can't block him. I forgot about that. I forget about that oftentimes still. Despite this being a tutorial, I completely forgot I couldn't block him. That may have... This may hurt us quite a bit in the end. Hopefully we can survive. Oh yes, we may have a chance still. We don't have enough... We don't have enough forest cards, sadly, or we could use this and destroy both of those guys. But we'll have to deal with our Maelstrom Archangel and hope she's got enough. Hope she's got enough in her to block these guys out. Now that we've got a flying person, we can actually defend ourselves. And let's attack with this guy and see if maybe we can get him to sacrifice both of their creatures. Because I'm willing to sacrifice this guy to get these guys off of the field right now. I think that is a worthy sacrifice. And he did not agree. Oh, notice how he didn't... Oh, stop the timer, damn it. Well, once I can stop the dang timer. There we go. Notice how he has Vigilance and Trample? Now, Trample we went over before. It allows me to punch through whatever remaining power I have through the enemy's health and attack the actual opponent's main life force. Vigilance allows it so that when I attack with these creatures, they're not tapped out, meaning I can defend with them again. So I get to, not only can I attack, once we go back and it's the enemy's turn again, I can defend with that same creature. It's brilliantly useful if the enemy wasn't using nothing but flying creatures, as you can see. Which may just be the death of me. Yeah, see, he realizes he's got me on the edge here. Now I'm gonna have to hope he doesn't have any more cards on the side that he's gonna attack me with. It says he has 0 in his hand, so I'm okay for now. But he's just going to keep bringing this Phoenix back out of the grave. Watch, I bet you he's going to sacrifice these next turn. And it's going to be a real bummer for me. Let's get this guy out here. And Defiler of Souls. This may be a game saver right here. He can't fly, but at the beginning of each of our turns, we each have to sacrifice monocolored creatures. Meaning he's going to have to sacrifice one of those guys. And that's not going to be fun for him, I can guarantee you that. So because I don't feel really threatened right now, let's go ahead and attack with these guys. Oh, he actually is a flying creature. That's good. That's absolutely fantastic, so I can use him to defend as well. Lucky break on our part. We just did 6 damage, and I don't do any damage to his actual life force, but I got rid of that creature, and that's good. See, there he had to sacrifice it. Now that was useful for us. We may be just turning this around, even though I'm coming back from the brink of extinction here. But you can see how this way of fighting is much more challenging than your normal creature spam. Because you really have to adapt your game playing style to who the opponent you're fighting. So if you don't know the deck you're fighting, you have to play it on the defensive, and that could really get you killed. Some of these decks you got to play offensively. Now I'm more of a defensive player myself. I prefer being defensive. But some of you might like being an offensive player. I don't know if I should use this. Let's just yeah, let's use it. We can finish this bastard off right here and now. Or not, apparently. I guess I have... Oh no, I can pick other cards. Sweet. So I just took out some land cards of his too. That makes my job a lot easier. Let's not finish this guy off yet. Let's leave him and see what other cards we can draw. Just to see if I can show you so many more good examples from this deck. As it's stood so far, we have not really come out with anything good. I've just gotten my butt beat. That was a mistake on my part. And that is another lesson. never toy with your opponent, because it will be the death of you. Well, we know that I could have won that one had I not been foolish enough to toy with them, because this is not an opponent you want to toy with. Not unless you can get rid of those land cards. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching me get my butt kicked. I hope this has been a useful tutorial in showing you how the advanced styles of Magic play can be a bit challenging, and that I wouldn't recommend it unless you really know what you're doing. The deck I picked from was a little bit challenging because it relies on you getting all the different kinds of land cards. But give it a shot if you think you can do it. I would suggest starting off with a creature spam, or if you want to start off with this, for example, Chandra's deck, the Born of Fire. If you want to start off with that, the only reason I would suggest it is so you can actually get a feel for it from the very beginning, and then creature spam should come naturally to you if you know how to balance your magic and your creatures at the same time. Anyways, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.